All right, time for another video, and this one, our plan is to do a little bit of lap seal on the roof. And if you've seen some of the other videos, we've done a bunch of videos around resealing the fans, and we took off the rails here and resealed those, and we've done marker lights up front and things. And I generally use butyl tape under all of those, and so that's what's underneath the rail here. But I also wanted to do a little bit of lap seal just over the top of the seams. And I think there's probably a better way to do this seam right here. I've seen some things that talks about a tape type of sealant. So take off this kind of tape that's on there now, clean out the groove, fill it, and then put this new tape over the top. So I'm not going to mess with that. I think it does also need to be redone, but I'm mostly interested in just along this top edge of the rail and some of the seams here. There's a little bit of some kind of non-silicone caulk stuff that we used on some other things that, you know, basically sealing the screws themselves. But I want to just put a layer of lap seal over all of this. So I got the lap seal, I got white. I don't know if that's going to be the best color considering our kind of yellowish color coach, but I'm hoping to not really goop on a whole bunch. I'm wanting to really just have kind of a small layer along the seam here. I'm going to clean it up with some degreaser and cleaner. I'm going to put a little bit of tape, so just painter's tape along the edges of where I want to lap seal, so that I can try to keep this under control. It is self-leveling, so it should spread out a little bit as it does that. And we'll see how it turns out. All right, so I started spreading the lap seal stuff, and it seems to be going pretty well. The self-leveling doesn't seem to make it runny necessarily. It just kind of smooths out as I go. And so I'm trying to make sure that I'm getting all along the seam here. I put tape up just to try to make sure if it did get away from me that it wouldn't go too far. But I'm really just wanting to cover the seam, not leave any gaps. If there is a little bit of a gap, it seems like it kind of fills in. I've got some of the butyl tape sticking out in places, so where I can, I want to cover that up, but I also feel like that's probably making a pretty good seal if the butyl tape is kind of squirted out. But yeah, I'm just kind of spreading it out here, and we'll see how that self-leveling works, but overall it doesn't seem too runny. I was thinking it might be really runny and it might try to, you know, run down the side of the coach or something. But yeah, it looks like it's doing okay. I'll keep going here and we'll see what it looks like after it sits for a little bit. All right, so I've got all the lap seal down. I did quite a bit of taping around the corner here to try to keep it off the lights and not make it too messy. I started to take off some of the tape. The self-leveling didn't make it spread out a whole bunch. I didn't really need the tape along the bottom here, I don't think. But it was definitely helpful around some of the areas where I was putting it on a little thicker. It's getting a skin over it and kind of starting to harden up. When taking off some of the tape here at the corner, it was kind of pulling a little bit, so I'm going to wait and let it dry a little bit more. I kind of thought the self-leveling would be runnier and be a little bit more kind of smooth, but places where I globbed a bit more in my caulking technique was not very good. It is going to be still kind of lumpy and bumpy. So I guess first experience with lap seal, but I think as far as covering the seam on the top, I think it's good. I think it's an extra layer of protection over the top of the butyl tape that I actually put underneath the rail itself. And so that was really what I was trying to do, is just give another layer on top, even though the main sealing should be happening where the rail meets the seam and the roof and sidewall. But around the end caps and things, I think probably a good idea to have a little extra there. And overall, pretty happy with it. I think the white doesn't really match this very well. They have a few other colors, but I don't know if there would have been the one that would match better. It'll probably yellow a little bit over time, and so that'll probably help it kind of blend in and look more like the color of the coach. But basically, I'll just let this kind of harden up a little bit more, pull the tape off, and we'll call this project done. All right, so I've got all of the tape off, and this is hardened up a bit. Actually, it was kind of a struggle to get the tape off. So what I found was when it had just barely skinned over and I tried to take the tape off, it was gooey and would make a mess. Later, as I tried to take the tape off, it was sticky and stringy and stuff. Even 24 hours later, it was still kind of stringy and really kind of messy to try to get the tape off. So I think if I did this again, which I probably will for the toilet vent or something else, I don't think I'm going to use tape at all. It was not nearly as runny as I thought it was going to be. I think I would be more careful putting it down because I thought it was going to self-level more. So the places where I kind of globbed it a bit, it's smooth glob, but still a glob. But I feel like I got pretty good coverage along the top of the rail. The point was not to really seal this, more just kind of provide a little extra outside protection above what's really sealing underneath the rail here. So we'll see how it goes. It was just one of the things on my list to help try to avoid leaks from the roof. You know, at some point this will probably need to come off. I've heard that this lap seal really just goes for maybe like 3 years and then you need to kind of peel it off and redo it. So we'll keep an eye on it. But a couple lessons learned. I'd be more careful in the application, and I don't think I'll use tape next time. But at least we got this project done, and hopefully we don't have any leaks.